What is up, guys, and welcome to the Meeple Minded podcast, the podcast where we talk all things tabletop gaming. My name is Jason.
And I'm James.
How are you doing this week, James?
Yeah, good.
Really tried to catch you out off guard there and do that nice and quick. Good week at work?
Not particularly.
No?
It's raining.
Yeah, back to rain in the UK.
Yeah.
It was really weird this past week, isn't it? Like, the start of the week, we had boiling hot weather again.
Yep.
Then on one day, it suddenly went freezing cold.
Yep.
Like literally freezing. There was ice.
Yep.
And now it's peeing down every single day.
Yep.
The UK, mate.
I love it.
Yeah.
All 4 seasons in one day.
Yeah, that's how we roll right here. This is why we've always got colds here. Yeah, we're a nation of people that always have a cold.
Yep.
Because the body goes, oh, heat. Oh, I can relax a bit now. Ha ha, rain. Oh, hang on a minute. Now I'm ill.
Yep.
Love it. But James, you're actually in a pretty good mood today.
I am in an excellent mood today.
Would you care to tell the people? Because I'm not sure I can bring myself to do it.
Oh no, I'm going to make you. I'm going to make you say it.
So well, I might admit it, but tell the lovely listeners why you're in such high spirits.
We had a game night last night, didn't we, Jason?
We did, yes. Yeah. I don't know if we can call it a game night. It was a travesty, really. But we had some friends over and there was a game involved.
There were 2 games involved.
There were 2 games involved. Oh, it tells you how much I'm trying to forget it, doesn't it? So following on from the week podcast of losing.
Yep.
James, your favourite subject of losing. How did you do last night?
I won both the games. Much to your annoyance.
Yes, indeed. It was a pretty good game night.
It was a good game night.
It was a very good game.
Distilled and Pyramido.
Yes. So we've obviously talked about both of those games previously. Distilled more so than Pyramido because we've only played Pyramido a couple of times at this point. But it was nice to get Distilled back to the table again.
It was. I do enjoy that game.
And we were once again missing the liquor.
Yes.
And I feel as a host, I've let everyone down.
That's what happens. That's what happens when you play it on a school night.
Which I get the feeling, though, that's why I brutally lost, wasn't it? Because you were punishing me for not providing liquor. Is that what it was?
Well, I didn't have a strategy, so I'm still baffled as to how it happened.
I mean, arguably, I still maintain that Simon won Distilled. Because it was a draw. I'll be honest, it was a draw.
It was a draw.
And it went to a tiebreaker and you won by 1.
Yes, I won by a penny because money was the tiebreaker.
Yes. But then we figured out that Simon had, he basically missed something that had happened in the last round, which cost him 6 points. And if he'd done that, he would have beaten you, fair and square. But we also I think he kind of misunderstood, or we misled him, or whatever it was, potatoes, about aging
in the last round.
And he sold rather than continuing to age, which if he'd done that, he would have actually gained more victory points doing that. So
yeah,
I'm going to give Simon the victory.
You'd have to math it out properly, because if he'd done that, though, he wouldn't have gained the money at the end. And and I had a stack of cash. And the question is that you'd have to sit down and math out, basically, would those extra victory points he gained, but sacrificing the money, equal the amount of victory points I then got for sitting on a substantial pile of cash?
This is fair, James. This is fair. But I'm being the voice of reason here, as rare as it may be. But you drew with Simon. Mm-hmm. And it was his first ever play. I think he deserves that win. Come on, admit it.
No,
you've got to admit it, because I can't bear the thought of you winning twice in one night. It's. I didn't sleep at all last night, James. And I need sleep tonight.
I won. I destroyed you all. Accept it.
Yeah, it was a good game, though. It was actually quite close, let's be honest.
Victory is mine.
I managed to claw a load back right in that last round, because I spent the entire game on 4 points. And then the round before the end, I took myself back to 0.
I'm going to have to agree with our good friend Ant on this one, that you knew exactly what you were doing.
I tried something new. The thing was, right, my usual thing with the characters, I like to get their special recipe on the go as quickly as possible and get it aging so that it's going to earn most points. My character, their special couldn't be aged. So I was like, well, how the hell am I going to make this a half decent drink? Because it was only 14 points. So my mindset was, the character gave me more victory points for anything that had more than 3 sugars in. So I was like, okay, well, let's start with ensuring it's got more than 3 sugars. And then I just kind of got a bit carried away in realizing that I wanted to just put in a sugar or at least 1 sugar every turn into my pantry to reserve for that drink.
Yeah.
So the whole game, I just went the whole game basically making moonshine and vodka, and then I think I made like 1 whiskey and I think it was a pisco. But the whole game was geared around making that one drink as full of sugar and alcohol as possible, and it brought me back in line with everyone else. I think I negated the central objectives a bit too much though, because you guys really hit them.
Like Simon and Ant fought over 1. Simon got 1 clear.
Yeah,
you would have potentially got
the sugar one, the alcohol,
the one with more than 6. You had to have at least 6 alcohol in it.
I didn't realise that the one that you had aging had.
Yeah,
I done
it because of the coppersmith that I had. Obviously, that allows you to add an extra alcohol. I think I had a barrel as well, also allowed you to add an extra alcohol.
Right.
In the age or something. Like I had something else that basically allowed me to put in 2 alcohol for nothing.
Yeah.
So I only needed 4 sugars in it.
Yeah.
So it's like as soon as I hit that one and it was aging, and I was looking at your stack in your pantry and going, I know that drink doesn't age, so I have to sell it before you decide to go. And I bit the bullet as soon as I could do it. It's like, I'm going to sell it now because that 7, I reckon that 7 points that it's going to give me is going to be essential.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to sacrifice aging cards to net those 7 points.
You timed it very well because I'd already made the decision on what round I wanted to sell or that I was going to make it and sell it in. And it was the following round. So you timed that incredibly well. I thought you were going to age it 1 more round, which is why I was like, well, I'm going to be the first player in the next round.
Yeah, that was the other thing. It's like I need to be ahead of you in the turn.
Yeah.
So that I know what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, in hindsight, I probably should have, thought about that a bit more and gone, no, he's not stupid. He'll probably do that. But then again, I didn't think you were paying that much attention to my board, other than the fact of, there's a big stack of cards there. What are you doing?
Well, it was more, I can't work your strategy out because you're just loading the pantry. What are you doing? You are supposed to make something, Jason.
I did. I made moonshine. That was the thing. I was spending so much money.
Yep.
Basically any money I had, I was spending. And I say a lot. It was like 5 money every turn.
So
I got really lucky because every time we got round to me, the premium greens, there was nearly always a water or was it the mineral water or spring water or whatever it is. So there was nearly always one of those. So I'd buy that because then I didn't have to take a water from the special, from the basic market. And we had the turbo yeast come out a couple of times as well. But my mindset was I eventually got the upgrade, which gave me a fruit sugar, which is what I needed for my special at the start of everything. So I was getting one of those to start with, and then I was using coins to buy the others. And then my 2 basic actions from the basic deck was to take a water and a yeast if I needed it. And I kind of had that revolving wheat sugar, which was useless to me.
Yeah.
Going in and out. And I got really lucky because I nearly always was drawing that one back out.
Yeah.
So I was able to just keep making these basic drinks with the 3 same cards while spending all my money on mixed fruit sugars.
Yeah.
Which then made my drink super sugary at the end.
Yep.
And netted me quite a bit of bunts.
Yes.
But more importantly, points.
Yeah. I went for the same strategy I used last time, which was making moonshine in the first round.
Yep.
Putting the label straight on free recipe.
Yeah.
And then picking whiskey, because whiskey nets you a decent amount of points. Yeah, it needs the wooden barrel, but its sugar type is free from the basic market.
Yeah, exactly. I think maybe next time if I did that same strategy, which actually worked better than I thought it would, I would probably unlock a different recipe sooner so that I could make something that was going to get me more points.
Yeah.
Because the majority of the game I was getting 4 points, then going around with not selling or something along those lines. Or the one round I aged, instead of selling,
Yeah.
I obviously got rid of my points to get
The money.
which I needed to continue.
Yeah, I mean, as something we brought up in the episode that we constantly forgot, I took advantage, obviously, because I messed up in the second. That's the other reason I'm actually surprised I won that, because I made that mistake of burning through too much cash in the second round.
Yeah, you did. Very, very close to that. And I think Ant did it as well.
Yeah, and it's sort of like, all right, I have to do a tasting here, otherwise I'm stuffed.
Up the creek without a paddle.
Yeah.
But yeah, Distilled James, are you still loving the game? Oh, very enough. Stupid question after the way we've just talked about it. But you still liking the game?
Absolutely loving it.
Excellent stuff. I still don't own it. It's not been my birthday yet. That's next week, James. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed I get a new game for the shelf. But we'll see. Or at least money towards the game to put on the new shelf.
Yes.
But yes, that was Distilled. We also played Pyramido for the second time. How did you find it the second time round, James?
A lot easier, because I knew what I was doing.
It was a lot more competitive, though. There was a lot more, well, you're not having that, I'm going to have that.
Yeah. Or I don't even need that, but I'm sure as hell not dropping it for you.
Yeah, exactly. But again, very close game, though. Very, very close game. I think every round, most of us were scoring in the region of 20 points.
Yeah.
1 or 2 points either side of it.
I think it came down to that last.
It did.
The last placement.
Yeah. And you pulled your victory right out of the end there as well, didn't you?
Well, it was like I got that huge stack of yellows all the way up one side of the pyramid, and it's like I've got my retile.
Yeah, yellow. Yeah,
and it allowed me to put the 2, because you've retiled it, you put the 2 on, so it's like, oh, look at that, I've got a line of greens coming up the other side.
Yeah.
I've got my yellow retile, so as long as my last pick has a green on it.
Yeah.
Like, boom, boom, boom. Excellent.
Yeah, well done. You did incredibly well in that game. But yeah, it was great game night. I obviously got to go along to another game day on Sunday, which was really good.
Yeah.
I learnt Sky Team while I was there, and then I was able to teach that to you on Tuesday, James.
Indeed. We've done a lot of gaming.
We've done a hell of a lot of gaming this week.
We've got more gaming to come.
We have, indeed. That we do. It's a very busy week for gaming. I love it.
I know.
How did you find Sky Team, James? We've both been excited for this.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
Yeah. I mean, we only played one game of it.
And we played it in basic mode.
We did as instructed. We did Montreal, which is the basic version, and it quite clearly says on the book, James, you do not defy the book.
Yeah.
When it says in big red block letters, do not open until you have successfully landed at Montreal. I don't know what flying to Canada really done. It just cost me a lot of money as far as I'm concerned. But we landed successfully, so I felt like I was able to read the book. We didn't fly to Canada. I'd love to. I'd come back with so much maple syrup. But anyway, James, Sky Team.
Yep.
What did you like about it? What didn't you like about it as a first impression?
I did enjoyed the game. I have to play it again, really, to pick up some niggles, I think. We landed the plane.
I don't know how, but we did.
We might have
the very first action of the game that we did, James, we put the plane into an almost irreversible bank.
Yes. About a 20-degree bank. So we might have been a bit wonky on the approach, but we landed.
We did. We were doing exceptionally well at placing dice and radioing Planes Ahead and going, we're amateurs, and they suddenly parted ways.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've got to admit, I really, really did like that game. It's really weird, having flown light aircraft in the past. The whole premise about not talking to your co-pilot or pilot, vice versa, is very alien. Very, very alien, because it's one thing you have drummed into your head constantly is communication is key.
Yeah. Do you know what? And I was trying not to laugh when this popped into my head. This is a very British reference for those who are from overseas, but I just reminded me of the pilot team from Come Fly With Me. No, I'm not talking to you.
Yeah. The Matt Lucas and David Williams.
Yeah. No,
comedy.
No, I'm not talking to you.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. See, that's funny. But you might even get my reference, and this is a more worldwide one. When we started, and we started descending, and we got to a sticky patch where we were about to crash into a plane midair, all I had going through my mind was the old movie Airplane, and I can never remember the actor's name, but the guy that leans in is like, I want to tell you both, good luck. We're all counting on you. That's all I had going through my damn mind when we were trying to land that plane.
Well, I had to bet, but obviously I can't. You're doing that? Surely you can't be serious. I am, and don't call me Shirley.
Absolutely fantastic. I had great fun playing the game. I can't wait to play it again. I mean, it's annoying. It's annoying that we're recording quite late, James, because I'm itching.
Yeah.
I'm itching.
But the thing is like, as soon as we finished playing it, I was like, oh, there's modules.
There's modules, yeah. What did you think of some of the modules?
I was looking at it, I was like, oh, this is going to be entertaining. I find it hilarious that one of the modules is an intern. It's like, I'm the intern, and what you're expecting me to teach someone.
Yeah. So I love that one, actually. That's the one I'm most eager to play, which is, you basically put the intern track along the bottom. So we're the co-pilot and pilot. And throughout the course of the game, while trying to land the plane, you also have to teach the intern, I think it's 6 different lessons, and they have to be basically a qualified pilot by the time you land. So it's just that added level of, okay, well, I will say, for me, playing the game, I found it quite easy.
Yep.
By comparison. I know it's the easiest landing and all that, but I found it quite easy because the decisions seem like they were pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're going to add in things like you've got to train this person, well, hang on, that's another place I've got to assign my dice.
Yeah.
In the 7 rounds, and then you've got these other ones as well where you have you've got to adjust your yaw and stuff like that.
Yeah, for wind.
Wind.
What was the thing I said? Obviously, in the basic mode, obviously you've got roll for banking. There's the wind module that's going to add in yaw for wind direction.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so when's the expansion coming out where you've got to deal with pitch?
Yeah.
Because it's the only axis.
The pitch done perfectly.
It's the only axis of movement that's not on here.
Yeah, exactly. But I think there's a lot of scope for this game.
Yeah, there is. I just like going back to the intern track as well. It's like, yes, here at Meeple Minded Airways, you get a full course of training. It's like, no, we're landing. You got to learn or we crash. Bye, go.
This is your one day of learning. You're doing this tomorrow on your own. Well, we might give you another amateur co-pilot, but you never know. But yeah, James, first impressions, Sky Team, yay, nay?
Yay.
Yay for me as well. I think, being the fact that we've been talking about 20 minutes, I think we should shift on to our main event of the show, James. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, cool.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Boom. Well, it's not really a topical discussion, is it? But it's close enough.
Yeah.
It's close enough.
It warrants the music.
It warrants the music. You've probably seen from the title, we haven't had a Warhammer episode for a little while, James.
No.
I think the last time we were talking about 30k and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was around about the Horus Heresy release, wasn't it?
Something like that. And I'm sure we've probably done a Games Workshop bashing episode at some point as well. I can't even remember. It's more than last week, so I'm not going to remember it. But this week, or at the time of recording, we've a couple of days ago had the Warhammer Day celebrations for their 40th anniversary. And of course, as such, they do this every year and they announce a load of new stuff. And we had a little look at it, didn't we, James?
We did.
We did. And we have some things to say.
Yep.
I think positive and negative on this one, I believe. But I don't know your opinions on it because we specifically said, let's not talk about our opinions. Let's save it till we're behind the mic. So we're going to go through the things that we've seen and give you our thoughts on what they have announced. So, James, are you ready?
I am.
To talk about the Warhammer Day announcements?
Let's do it.
Excellent. So, should we start off with the big boy, 40k?
Yeah.
I think we should. And being the fact that this is Warhammer, it's time for me to break out my butchering of names stick because they love to come up with things that sound like nonsense. But we'll start with the Necrons, James, because we got a glimpse at a new model.
Indeed.
Which this is very. This is actually not too bad. I believe it's called Imitek the Stormlord.
Indeed.
Now, James, you're more of the sci-fi guy than I am. But do you know much about Imatech or Necrons in general?
Not really. It wasn't one of the armies I ever collected, so
I like the premise around Necrons because the skeleton robots basically that are kind of Egyptian, I guess. Especially with a name like Imatech.
Yeah, they've definitely got that Egyptian-y theme to them. I like their background fluff. They were a dying race that were tricked into giving up their corporate. I think the conversion process from transferring them into machines.
Yeah,
the energy was used by these higher beings to basically they feed on them.
Yes. Yeah.
And it was all a massive trick to get them to live forever.
Yeah. See, I've always viewed the Necrons as like the 40k equivalent of like the Tomb Kings with old Warhammer Fantasy.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Not that they...
How can we make this fantasy army sci-fi?
Yeah. Make them metal.
Yep.
Robots. Robot skeletons. But so Imatech Stormlord, the model, James.
Yes.
I'm interested to know your opinions on it because I'll be honest, I think it's a bit bland.
Yeah, I was thinking that, like looking at the picture.
For a named character, I expect, a bit more of a polarizing pose, shall we say.
Yeah.
But it's just very basic. I mean, I don't really know what I would say needs to be different.
Mm-hmm.
But, he's kind of got the hand out pretending he's Iron Man and the was it like a staff or something like that, a banner?
He's got a staff. I might be wrong on this, but I believe he's holding that pose is he's holding like an orb of some kind in his hand. I'm sure it's a Necron thing, that orb, but
yeah. So I mean, this might just be pure ignorance on my part or on our parts, but because we're not into the whole Necron stuff, it just seems very bland. And considering I've always said that despite their prices, Games Workshop have some of the best sculptors, best designers in the world, and I will not have anyone say anything different. They produce some of the best miniatures in the world.
Yeah.
I was just a little bit let down with this one. I was very uninspired by it.
I mean, I will reserve judgment on that until I see an actual picture of the miniature, because the problem is the one that they've put up is a little bit, it's almost like a dynamic photo, so it's on a tabletop mid-battle with all the ambient lighting coming down. It is actually obscuring a lot of the detail on the model.
Yeah. Well, one of the key things I will say, and I'll silver line this before we move on, I like the cape, weirdly, because it's kind of got that sort of diamond or, I forget the name, the name of the shape, but the elongated diamond pattern to it. Yeah. Which is pretty cool. I like that. As silly as it sounds, it's a cape. But you don't see many of the robot-y stuff with the capes. So, yeah. What about you, James? What were your thoughts on Imatech?
Yeah, I mean, it's a decent enough model. He's quite a chunky boy looking at the scale next to, I think there's some of the Skitarii models next to him in this picture, and he's head and shoulders above them, so it looks like a bit of a chunky boy.
Bit of a big boy.
Yeah. Like I said, I'll reserve judgment on the actual thing until I see a proper miniature showcase style photo of him that will show off all the detail on him, because like I said, that green background light is washing a lot of the detail out of the photo, which I think they've done on purpose.
Potentially indeed, especially when we start talking about the next models that I want to talk about, James, because they've released quite a few pictures of those, but they all show pretty much the same thing, which this is where I'll start butchering names. So the next thing we're to be talking about is it the Sidonian Scatros?
Sidonian is because it's a region of Mars. Sidonian, I believe you pronounced the second word right.
Yeah, Scatros. It's basically it's a big.
It's a dude on stilts.
It's a sniper person on stilts. This is a new unit type. So yeah, he's a big snipery type dude on stilts, right?
Yeah.
But they did show off some of his rules and stuff on the stream, and they were pretty derpy.
Yep.
So he's not a force to be messed with. But I've got a couple of problems. I love the sculpt. I genuinely do. I think it's a beautiful sculpt. Other than a couple of things. First and foremost is this guy is meant to be a sniper. He's meant to be hidden. He's stealthy and all that kind of jazz, and yet he's on stilts where you can't put him behind scenery. So he's going to stand out like a sore thumb, and he's going to take a battering, I think, because people are going to know how derpy he is. So that's one. But the second one, which is a little bit more glaringly, I don't want to say glaringly obvious, because obviously it wasn't obvious enough, but the stilts are pretty cool, but the rather inconveniently placed exhaust pipe.
Yeah, let's put that. I mean, in all fairness, it does show a behind picture and it is hooked into the backpack. But from a front-on view...
It looks like a third leg.
It looks like...
The friendly way of saying the third leg.
It looks like it's literally an exhaust pipe that's going somewhere else.
Yes, yeah. It looks like a male appendage.
That wasn't what I... I mean, there is that, but it was more the fact that it's an exhaust pipe. It's like, well, these guys must suffer from gas because that's where it looks like the exhaust pipe's going from the front. Yeah, it's a rather
unfortunate placement of an exhaust pipe, isn't it? But yeah, James, what's your thoughts on this particular model? Because like I said, I quite like it. I think the sculpt's lovely.
It's odd. I mean, I've got to be honest. I'm not a fan of a lot of the Adeptus Mechanicus models, but that's a personal thing. I mean, as a sculpt, as a miniature, I can acknowledge it's a bit of a cool model. I'm just not a fan of the whole steampunky thing, which is what they're capitalizing on with the Adeptus Mechanicus.
No, that's fair.
A lot of the Forge World stuff I think is a lot better, but the mainline GW thing, I'm just not a fan of it.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's understandable. So, I mean, the key, they're the next two big releases, aren't they, really, for 40k, is they're focusing on the Necrons and the Adeptus Mechanicus.
Yeah.
Which would be the other, I guess, announcement that we can talk, we can say that they have announced that their respective codexes are also coming out.
Yes.
Their codexes, the artwork on the front is very 40k-ish.
Yep.
It's usually, I think it's just a picture of the characters we've just talked about, but on the front cover.
Yeah.
So nothing super special with regards to 40k, which I've got to admit I am surprised at. I thought maybe there might have been a little bit more for the main game for Games Workshop. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the next two items we're going to talk about are blatantly that they are cross-compatible, and they are updates of some fairly old kits, which is quite welcome.
Yeah. What is next, James? Yeah, I'll let you lead on to it.
So it's the Kill Team section next.
Yeah.
So the next one is the Blades of Cain Striking Scorpions.
Yes. Now, again, I've never been super into the sci-fi side of things.
Yeah.
With 40k, but Eldar was always the one that was close to my heart.
Yeah, because that was your...
It was the one army that I actually put time and effort into.
That was your dabble into 40k, and you did like it because it was derpy.
Yes. Yeah. But yeah, just the game system
makes me
of it.
shudder just thinking of your old 40k armies.
I still own it.
D strength templates coming out
of the exhaust pipe.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, so Eldar are getting a little bit of a love within the Kill Team universe with the announcement of some new sculpted
Striking
Scorpions. Yes, although then aren't they called something else now? And Striking Scorpions is now the tagline of them, or something like Blades of something.
Blades of Cain Striking Scorpions is what is it? I'm not sure if the Blades of Cain is a Kill Team thing.
Yeah, it might be.
But it's nice to see an Aspect Warrior kit updated, because I've seen people commenting a lot, because they are towards the older end of the models. I think they're still fine cast, a lot of them.
They were indeed, yeah. The Striking Scorpions were definitely fine cast or Scheisser cast.
Yeah. I think the Swooping Hawks and the Dire Avengers have got plastic kits. I can never remember the names of the other ones, but I think a lot the other ones are still hanging around.
Yeah, I think the Avatar of Cain used to be one, and that's now plastic. They're slowly getting there at replacing the fine cast travesties of the past. But the one thing I would say here, really, with regards to this kit and my personal opinion, would be I think I preferred the sculpts of the Finecast kits, mainly because these ones just look a bit too generic.
Yeah.
Like every single one of them, their body style is exactly the same. And it looks like the only customization is which arms do I put on today?
Yeah.
Because they're all the same stance, but then the arms are different.
Yeah, but I've heard a lot of people say that the mainline kits are going back that way, like monopose.
Okay. It's an interesting decision to do that, though.
Yeah.
I don't know why they would do that.
I think a lot of people were starting to complain that although the multi-pose kits are nice, they are fiddly as all hell to put together. Because rather than having a one-piece arm, your arm now comes in 3 pieces so that it can be posed at, and it's just sort of like this is not a fun kit to put together anymore because I'm having to hold 3 different pieces to get it to
and then I've stuck my fingers to the model and all sorts. I can understand that. I mean, you know, as much as people will slate them, Games Workshop are still the intro into the tabletop gaming hobby for most people. You know, they will come in through Games Workshop and then they will find other things. Or they'll stick with Games Workshop, you know, whatever it be. But they are the intro to a lot of people. So maybe going for those simplified kits is a better way. But I do think that for a company that, as I've said, have really specialised in making these amazing posable models for a long time now, these were just a little bit too mono. For me. What about you?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Be interesting to see how many different arm options and that you got in the box. Yeah.
And whether they can be used on different models and stuff like that.
So, I mean, a lot of the Heresy kits, obviously, I'm more familiar with those, are quite monopose.
Oh, yeah, they're proper old school, aren't they? Gun in front of the chest and all that kind of jazz. But, so, I mean, I'm okay with them. I think they're all right. I'm interested to see how much Games Workshop charge for this new set.
Indeed. It's always the question.
Indeed. But moving on, the next unit that was announced for Kill Team is one a bit closer to your heart, James.
And it's nice to see this kit get an update because, again, they were I believe these ones weren't even plastic. I think they were metal as to how old they were. So, the Space Marine Scout Squad.
Yes. I mean, again, I don't know huge amounts about 40k, but I know the Scout Squad is old.
Yeah, very old.
Now, the real question is, because I'm assuming they're going to have had a substantial rules update to justify bringing them back, because I remember that about the Scorpions, is they were quite derpy.
Yes.
So I'm assuming they've now made the Scout Squad equal, because these are going to be the sets that are coming in the Kill Team base box, right?
Yep. So it'll be interesting to see how they fit into a 40k. So they've been scaled up, so they're Primaris size rather than Firstborn size.
Of course. I mean, that's standard now, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a given. It looks like you get all their options in one box, which is great. So you've got the heavy bolter, the missile launcher, the shotguns, the sniper rifle, which is nice. All the options in one box.
Yep.
So it'd be interesting to see. At the time of this recording, I can't remember if the Marine Codex has actually been released or if it's on its way.
I think it has.
Yeah, so it'd be interesting. Scouts were always about hiding it when I was playing it, about hiding in cover and basically harassing the enemy.
Yeah. Actually, I mean, talking about the codexes, I'm actually hoping that the codex hasn't dropped, because if it has, we know how Games Workshop operate. They will never put a unit in there that they haven't already released.
Yeah.
So it would be kind of annoying to have that codex come out within the last couple of months and then have this new unit drop.
Yeah, oh no, something like the Scout Squad and the Striking Scorpions are basic units. They'll be in the codex regardless.
Okay, fair enough. So, but we talked about the core box there, James, for Kill Team.
Yes.
Now, this is another big, and I would say big announcement for Kill Team, because previously...
Yep.
When you got into Kill Team, if you wanted the core box, you got your units for the two armies and a bunch of scenery in the core box.
Yep.
This time round, they've gone a different direction. They've done it another way, James.
They have done it another way.
They've now separated the scenery. So you don't get scenery when you buy the core box. So I'm assuming that's going to make it cheaper as a potential to get into the hobby.
Yep.
which also means that you can now buy that scenery set from day one totally separately, and I'm not really sure why you would.
I can think of one reason.
Okay.
The Beta Decima kill zone, it looks god-awful.
It does. Yeah.
On its own.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, James.
It's a bunch of floating platforms.
It's a bunch of floating platforms. It's some platforms.
Yeah.
Some walkways. That's it. And a board. A little, I think it's 2x1 or something like that, 2 by 1 foot board to put them on.
Yeah.
And bar one piece of scenery in it, it is literally all just some very basic raised platforms which you've been able to buy for ages.
Yep.
So
the only reason I can think of that you would buy this is if you're building a table and you want some raised platforms.
Yeah. But, I mean, maybe there'll be some savings by buying this bigger box. But as I said, these platforms have been available for quite some time. It's the standard Adeptus Mechanicus scenery. So I'm really uninspired, to be honest, by that scenery, which is really, really hard for me to say because I love, and I mean love, Games Workshop scenery. Again, may sound like a bit of a fanboy, but they do some of the best scenery out there. And I've always said it, if I could buy only Games Workshop scenery for my game club, I would. But money, that's the only reason that I wouldn't only exclusively buy Games Workshop scenery, James. But yeah, your thoughts on that scenery?
It's
a bit bad.
Yep. And I'm genuinely curious as to how much they're charging for that.
Yeah, I am too. But it'd be interesting to see. I do think that they've obviously trying this new direction, full respects to them. I can see the sales of that scenery box being a bit poor, which will in turn probably lead to the next iteration of Kill Team going back to the tried and tested formula of stick it all in together because then we can get money for the scenery as well.
Yep.
But your thoughts on them taking that decision to actually separate it?
It's bold. Because, like you said, I don't think they'll get much uptake on the scenery.
Yeah. Be interesting. Be interesting as to what else will happen. I'm not 100% if it's only those two units that are going to come in a box. I'm assuming not.
I mean, I've had I also like Games Workshop scenery just to change tracks a little bit. But I think out of all the aspects of tabletop wargaming, the advent of 3D printing, I think we'll see scenery disappear as a whole because...
Ooh, okay.
I just, as more and more places start selling 3D printed scenery, third party, they can't compete with the price. It's a quarter to a third of the price that Games Workshop's asking.
Yeah. I mean, I know where you're coming from.
It's
just a whole other discussion on its own, isn't it?
If any aspect that they're going to give up on, it will be scenery because they'd either have to substantially drop the price of their scenery to compete, or they'll just have to acknowledge defeat, basically.
I mean, you have to look at the writing on the wall for that in the sense of, MDF scenery was huge for years. It was the go-to for the cheaper scenery. There's so many places now that are ceasing production of MDF kits and are doing solely 3D printing kits because it's cheaper, it's better quality, it's more durable.
It's a lot more modular.
And it's for the most part, it's more modular if you go down the modular route. It is a better option. But again, that is definitely a discussion for another time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Kill Team has got an interesting approach now because it's providing another game system into Games Workshop that should, touch wood, have a more affordable entry price should you want to get into it. Not having to buy that scenery.
There's a lot of shoulds in there, Jason.
Should. Games Workshop.
Yes.
The should company. There's a lot of should.
We'll see.
We'll see. We'll definitely see.
Do you know, it's such a schizophrenic company because, like, we said it in the 30K episode when that box came out, and it's just like, this is unbelievably good value for money.
Yeah.
And still is. And yet everything else, it's just like, what?
Yeah. 100%. 100%. But moving on to something a bit closer to my heart, James.
Indeed.
The fantasy.
The fantasy stuff.
The fantasy stuff. Or more importantly, the Age of Sigmar, as they so call it now, because it's not Fantasy Battle anymore, and I'm still not so salty about that at all. But Old World is coming. We'll
It is.
we'll get on to that in a minute. Stop, Jason. We'll get to it. Age of Sigmar, James.
Yep.
If I remember correctly, one thing we wanted to talk about first is, of course, going to be the Stormcast Eternals.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure anyone out there will guess it. We're going to talk about the new model, the new character that is coming on a model. And you guessed it, being the Stormcast Eternals. Surprise, surprise. It's on the back of a dragon. As every character in Stormcast Eternals, I swear to God, is on the back of a dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Or dragon type thing. But this one, I'm trying to remember its name, James. It's something. Is it Ionis Cryptborn or something like that?
Ionis Cryptborn, I'm going to pronounce
that
it
sounds
as.
better. Yeah, that sounds good. Warden of the Lost Souls, because everything has to have a subtitle now.
Yep.
I don't know why that is, but yes, what you said, the Cryptborn, James. What do you think of that model?
It's a guy on the back of a dragon.
It is.
It is. I'm reading it here where it says the pack will contain him and 2 other Stormdrake riders.
Okay, nice.
So that's 3 models in the pack. So that's pretty cool for a character.
Yeah. Be interesting to see if you can make all 3 and have them active at the same time, rather than, it will include this, but yeah, it'd be like you've got to pick between this model and this model.
From the sound of it, it sounds like it's the character and just 2 Stormcast on Stormdrake, so and like an escort, basically.
It would definitely make sense. I might have missed that one when I was watching the stream, to be fair.
Yeah, I'd be reading the text on the article we're taking this information from.
Yeah. Now I'm just going to come out and say it, James. As we go into the Age of Sigmar bit, this is where I think this stream started to turn around for the better.
Yes.
Because almost every single model we're going to talk about in the Age of Sigmar section is gorgeous. So well sculpted. And this is no different. The only thing I would say with this one, though, is when I first looked at it and I wasn't really listening, I immediately said, oh my God, there's a new Vampire Counts model.
Yeah.
Then realised it's actually a Stormcast Eternal.
The way the dragon's painted up does
it's
lend
very,
itself
very,
to that.
very Vampire Counts-esque, isn't it?
Yep.
But yeah, it's a big stonky dragon. I'm going to guess that'll be a nice stonky price, but it's a beautiful dragon. I get the feeling that my partner is going to want to buy that, or more importantly, I'll end up buying it and she'll end up painting it. But it's a very, very nice model. What about you?
Yeah, it's a nice looking model. It's a guy on the dragon.
It is indeed.
Can you tell that I'm the sci-fi player out of the 2 of us? It's a dude on a dragon.
Yeah. Well, I like that model, James. It's one of my favourite models of the release, but I will tell you, the next one is actually my favourite model from the release, because this thing is beautiful, because it is it Belthanos of First Thorn of Kurnoth, which is, of course, a mini for the Sylvaneth.
Yep, I'm well done. That's very close. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce that.
Yeah. It's the one downside of fantasy, man.
Yeah.
Lots of...
looking at the spelling of it, it's take Thanos from the Marvel universe and put Bell in front of it. And Bell Thanos.
Bell Thanos, First Thorn of Kurnoth. Now, how do I explain this model, James? The character on the top, the tree man thing, is really nice.
It's a tree on a beetle.
It's a tree on a very big beetle. But the
Sylvaneth.
Yeah, the beetle is stunning, and it might just be the paint job, but my favourite part of that model, James, is the wing covers. Yeah, because it's a flying beetle. And you've got like the wing covers, which has got like a fantasy tribal pattern.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that is just not some insane artwork and that's actually sculpted into the wing.
Yeah, because I would love to be able to paint that. I mean, the way they've painted it is stunning. You've got that bright orange vibrancy of the beetle contrasting with the darker tones of Belthanos on top. You know, it's just a beautiful sky. And even the beetle looks like it's sort of in a pose ready to prance on something, you know, and it really is gorgeous. I mean, I wouldn't know what beetle to really compare it to, though, because obviously they've already got like the dung beetle.
Yeah. It's a beetle of some kind.
Yeah, it's a very nice beetle, James. But your thoughts on that? I mean, how much better is that than a sci-fi sculpt?
Nah, give me a tank any day.
Really? Gotta love a bit of nature sculpting, James. Come on. But no, I give them their credit. Sylvaneth have always had one of the best looking armies, I think. Ever since the end times, actually, when they really started pushing them. But yeah. What's next, James?
Well, that's it for the Age of Sigmar section, Jason.
I mean, no. Well, it's not quite. It's the end of the Age of Sigmar section, isn't it?
Yes, it's the end of the Age of Sigmar section, which means we're on to the Old World reveal.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, that's all I care about. We've talked now for like 50 minutes. This is where the chat starts, James, because that's what I really wanted to. I wanted to hear all about.
Yep,
and I wanted to know dates. I wanted to know models. I wanted to know what armies were coming in the core box, and we got some old Bretonian models from decades ago.
Yep,
and that was about it, really. I think there's 2 new models in there from what I remember.
2 sets, which is the Kingdom of Bretonia Duke on Royal Pegasus.
Yeah, which I will give its credit, is my second favourite miniature that was released.
Yep, and the Knights of the Realm on foot.
Yes, so we've obviously previously had the Knights of Realm, which were mounted on horseback.
Yep.
Now we have the Knights of Realm on foot. Now, I will talk about them in a minute.
Yep.
Because I want to talk about what I said just now about releasing old models.
Yep.
Because have I gone and been a bit, overkill on what they've done here? Because I don't think I have. Because what they announced was basically all those old models that you knew, the metal models,
yep,
the old fine cast models. Most of them are coming back. You've got the Knights of Realm, they're coming back. You've got the Men at Arms, the Pegasus Knights, the Peasant Bowman, the Trebuchet, the Handmaiden of the Lady. They're all making a return, with the latter of those 2 becoming resin.
Yeah,
so I'm going to assume a Forge World exclusivity there.
Yeah, the Field Trebuchet and the Handmaiden of the Lady.
Yes. So they're going over to resin. I think they were fine cast, if I remember correctly, but all the others were metal.
Mm-hmm.
Now, by the sounds of it, they're coming back in metal, not plastic. I could have drastically misunderstood that, but the problem I have here, James, is those models were gorgeous when they first came out years ago.
Yep.
And not so much, they're all very old style. They lack a lot of detail on most of them. And then you've got these new units, the Knights of the Realm on foot, which are nicely heroically posed. They're a little bit bigger, and they're going to be stood right next to all those other models, looking majorly out of place.
Yep.
Warhammer Old World, James, was announced, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
At this point? And this is the first kind of official reveal we've had.
Yeah,
all you've given me is 2 new models.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with... It's like, when they axed Warhammer Fantasy...
Yes.
If you've decided to bring it back, if you're going to bring it back, you re-sculpt the models.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just kind of one of the things, like
it's one of every other thing, like we were talking about it there, how long it's been since the Scout Squad and the Striking Scorpion. Yeah. It's like you've redone them, they've been updated. It's like if you're trying to relaunch Warhammer Fantasy, update the models.
Yeah. You think, Age of Sigmar came out, I think, 7 years ago at this point.
Yeah.
Possibly even a bit longer. It might have even been 8 years. So they've had 8 years, 7-8 years since the Bretonians were nixed.
Yeah.
They were removed. And we've got two new models. All right, you've put some of them in resin. Whoopie-doo, the sculpts are still the same. They're basic.
I don't mind, maybe not the Handmaiden, even though she's a single one. The Trebuchet, it's a Trebuchet, all right? That doesn't need to be stupidly detailed. It's a catapult with two crew.
Yeah.
That one, okay.
Mm-hmm.
The other units, the block units, no, resculpt them.
Yeah. So I it's fair to say I was very excited about the Old World news. And I'm leaving somewhat disappointed because I kind of wanted a little bit more to know, what's going to come in it. All right, we know we've got the Bretonians. We've kind of known that for a long time. You've not really given me any new information who's the other faction that's going to come in the core box? When is the core box? The closest we got on that was early 2024. Okay, that's a bit better. We know that basically means Q1 2024. And fans of Games Workshop will know that this is probably going to be their first big release of 2024, which means probably around January, February time. Fingers crossed.
Interesting. I would have actually gone for March. I would have gone for end Q1.
They normally do a big release right after Christmas to get people spending the Christmas money and to get the normal hobbyist buying after arguably the harshest time of year when people spend all their money. January is a hard month for most places, especially when those places don't do January sales.
Yeah.
Games Workshop. As well as others, but yeah, Games Workshop. So I'm going to guess in the first two months of 2024, which means they've still got a couple of months to announce what else is coming. The problem I really have here, James, is what better way to end that 40th anniversary stream than to announce the return date of their original game?
Yep.
Basically. Because that's what it is. It's a reskin of the original game, as far as we're aware. And end the stream on that. Build the excitement. But instead, we got very, very little.
I considering the, even though I wasn't much of a fantasy player, I was expecting to hear, especially seeing as we know it's coming Q1 2024, which is not that far off.
Mm-hmm.
I was expecting rules snippets. Because my experience from when 40k ended in 7th and went to 8th, and they drastically changed the rule set.
Yeah.
When Heresy came out, it was similar to 7th, but it wasn't. It's not like they just got the old 7th rulebook and just gone, oh, yeah, here you go.
Yeah.
There were changes to it. I'm interested to see what they've done with Old World, because it will not be...
It won't be a carbon copy.
It won't be a carbon copy of the last edition that came out. They will have made changes to it, and that's what everyone's going to be interested in.
Yeah.
How's everything going to work?
That's what I mean. We got nothing new. You know, they talked about a couple of bits, but it's like it was nothing that we haven't already heard in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Whether it be officially through community or, rumor mills that may or may not have been started by Games Workshop themselves.
Yeah.
It just kind of felt really anticlimactic. And I'll be honest, the other thing, those details kind of summed up my real feelings of the stream as a whole.
I was literally just about to say that. As I'm going to be brutally honest, for a 40th anniversary,
it was really underwhelming.
It was lackluster. I was expecting more.
Yeah. I don't know what, but
I was expecting something wow.
Yeah.
Something that everyone's going to go,
oh my God, take my money.
I've been waiting for this for however
or
long.
even I didn't know I needed this, but oh my God, here's my money.
Yeah. Where's your centerpiece?
Yeah. Where is the centerpiece? Where's the wow factor in this stream? I'm really shocked that we got nothing for 30k, like literally nothing. And I'm also shocked that they weren't talking about the whole like Henry Cavill Amazon series that,
that's got a bit quiet though.
I know it's not in production and I know they're in talks to get all the licensing and stuff sorted out, but it's hot news.
Yeah.
People know about it. You kind of announced it yourself a little while ago. Just an update. Where are we standing? What's coming? What to expect? Maybe even give us a hint about what characters might be being portrayed in this.
Yeah, where it's being set.
Yeah. They're just all these things I think everyone was kind of waiting for, just never came. The Old World announcements were really lackluster. The 40k ones were kind of lackluster. We got shown 2 new models and a codex or 2. It just felt lackluster, James. I don't know. I don't really know any other way of putting it. Was there anything in particular you were hoping for?
A centerpiece, but a big miniature. Something that, like I said, it was lacking that wow factor of, oh my God, I can't believe this has finally come to plastic sort of thing. It's a 40th anniversary.
Yeah. They could have really trolled people and go, it's the 40th anniversary. We've got something really big that we want to announce to you in plastic. It's the Warlord's brother.
Well, it's going to be plastic.
It's not the Warlord Titan.
If they're going to troll you, it'll be plastic Thunderhawk as the thing that they've been doing. I mean, they did it with the Aeronautica release. It's like, finally, the Thunderhawk is in plastic at mini scale. Which I will respect them for. That was a troll, and that was hilarious.
They're pretty good at it when they do try.
Yeah. But yeah, it's I don't know, a Space Marine Super Heavy for Heresy.
Yeah,
would have been a good one. Where is that centerpiece miniature that everyone's just going to go,
oh yeah,
yay?
Yeah, exactly. Disappointment, James.
Yep,
disappointment. I'm really upset. To be honest, I was hoping for a bit more for our world for me. I was hoping for a bit more 30k. Well, I was hoping for some 30k for yourself. And yeah, we've got plenty of 40k friends that I wish there was more for them as well.
I know there was. Wasn't announced on that stream. There is a box coming for Heresy that has already been announced. I think it's coming up or is on pre-order at the moment. One of the two, where you get the Mark III Space Marines, the Land Raider, and the Dorito Dreadnought.
Yeah.
In it. So that is imminently dropping for Heresy. But yeah, not having a single announcement on the 40th, it's just kind of like...
Yeah. And the codexes were announced that they are coming in Q4.
Yep.
Which we're already in, so they are imminent as well. So yeah, James, final thoughts on the stream before we head off and do something else.
Just a bit lackluster.
Yeah. Shame.
Yep.
Shame. Oh well. That's it for another year, isn't it? Warhammer Day is over.
Yeah, it's just, like to sum it up, it's like this wasn't just any other year. It's like it's a 40 is a big anniversary. I was expecting more.
Yeah,
that's 40. What I mean. That was two reveals for each game system.
Yeah,
effectively not counting all the returning miniatures for the Bretonians. Which wow.
Yeah,
so he says sarcastically, but yeah, it's about two reveals for each game system for a 40th anniversary.
Yeah. Bit upsetting.
Yeah.
Maybe people have just become a bit entitled, including us, thinking we deserve more. But for a company that releases something new every single week, I'm pretty sure they've got more in the tank that they could have announced. It's
not about what we want. It's a big anniversary. I would kind of expect you to throw in some wow factor for such a big occasion.
Yeah. Thing is, it's been arguably the way of Games Workshop this year for their anniversary, because the reaction to was it Warhammer Fest?
Yeah,
was a bit meh.
Yeah,
it was like, well, again, it lacked something. I think people just it's a big anniversary. People expected it.
I mean, a part of me thinks that maybe it's just unfortunate that they're in a bit of a there are things in the pipeline that aren't just ready yet. But I would have thought for a company that planned so far in ahead that wouldn't be the case for a major anniversary event.
Yeah. Like I said, I think I got my hopes up really with Old World purely because it was their original system.
Yeah.
It's their anniversary. They're going to do something huge with this. Release it with the original rules or something. I don't know. Something crazy. But no, just didn't happen. It's over now. We've said our bit.
Yep.
We can go back to ignoring Games Workshop for the next few months.
Yeah, until they do something...
until they do something stupid.
All good, it's a 50-50 with that company. It's like they're really going to do something amazing, or they're going to do something idiotic. Mm-hmm. Either way, it's content.
Yeah, yeah. Weirdly though, James, this will probably surprise you. Board Game Geek, the hotness that you have on Board Game Geek. Do you know what was number one this week?
Nope.
Space Marine board game. Games Workshop were topping the hotness on Board Game Geek. And on that note, anyone that says that Warhammer isn't tabletop gaming, it's on top of the hotness on the mecha. You can't argue with the mecha. But James, you ready to head off now?
Mm-hmm.
My voice is starting to go. I've run out of tea and it's getting late. I've got work in the morning, but maybe a little game might be played before we head off. But until next week, I have been, I think, Jason.
And I have definitely been James.
Join us next week for more tabletop gaming goodness. Ta-ta and goodbye.